Perceive, process, perform. Do you need inspiration for your practice, or do you simply need to practice inspiration? With this series, we aim to do both. Give us 15 minutes and we'll give you practice inspiration.
Well, thanks for having me at your study club today. Today, our practice inspiration program is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about the dental value chain. Let me start off by introducing myself. I'm Eric Rindler. I'm a private practice periodontist in San Antonio. I practiced for 20 years, and then I had this great idea to go back to business school. I attended the McCombs School of Business in Austin, and what we're going to share today is some of the stuff I learned in business school that applies to the practice of dentistry. I have three objectives I'm going to cover. First, I want to introduce a specific strategic tool. It's kind of interesting. Strategic tools are designed to work together. So talking about one of them individually is taken out of context, but this one stands on its own, but then when it works with the others, it's incredible synergy. Second, we'll talk about tactics versus strategy. And finally, I'm hoping that you'll be able to consider the full spectrum of value creating activities within your business when you see it in the format of the value chain. Okay? A lot of the dental education that I like was a cookie cutter. I could take it home, implement it in my practice Monday. Strategic tools are big, important concepts that don't necessarily fit in a box. Rather, it's more like planting a seed and hoping that you'll be able to harvest it in 12 months or 18 months. And at the end, we'll talk about some resources and where you can get more information about these topics. So in the full day program, we cover the whole program up there. And we run through everything, some of my favorite things from my MBA program. And then all we're going to do today is talk about the very lower right-hand corner, that one strategic tool, and it's called value chain. So there's a picture of the value chain. This is stolen from Michael Porter from Harvard Business School. He's like the John Coys of dentistry in business, and he brings all the stuff and puts it together and lets it make a lot of sense, okay? When we look at the value chain, what we're looking to do is increasing your profit margins. And the word margins really confused me when I was in business school, because every time they were talking about margins, I was thinking about restorative dental margins. And it took me a little while to realize that that little gray on the end of the arrow there was profit margins. So we're going to break down the value chain of your business. We're going to break your business down into individual building blocks in which the tactics that you're learning from the gurus and the consultants can fit in. And by attacking the entire value chain is your best chance to significantly increase your profit margins. I'm fully aware that individual tactics may bleed over between building blocks, but we break it down like this so we can look at it. So we look at it as primary activities. That's the primary activity in which you make money. For today's case, we're going to talk about patient flow, how the patient runs through the practice. But there's also, just as important, look, half of the value chain talks about supportive activities. And these are the things that we do to make it so that we can do the primary activities profitably. So let's run through those primary activities. First, I'll use the big business word, and then we'll try to put it into a dental word that makes sense to what we do. The concept of inbound logistics. Inbound logistics is the process related to receiving, storing, distributing information of the inputs that are coming into the business. So you get supplies in a manufacturing facility, and they distribute them and get them everywhere they need to go. For our sake, in the dental world, I consider that patient inflow. It's what it takes to get the patient in the door. It's the initial, not just in the door, but into the dental chair. So it's the phone calls the receptionist makes. It's how they're greeted when they come in. It's all the processes to do everything to get them in the door and into your dental chair. That's patient inflow or inbound logistics. Once the patient's in your office, in the dental chair, that's where operations takes place. And operations is a pretty good word because we operate, right? But operations is more, it's what changes those inputs to outputs. So in our case, it's chair time. It's what we're doing. It's the procedures. It's the process. It's the systems that review medical history, blood pressure, but also put the rubber dam on. It's how you do your dental procedures and how everything around you makes it as efficient as possible for the patient to be in the airtime. That's like Michael Jordan. It's airtime. So operations is what happens in the dental chair. So then we go from inbound logistics or patient inflow to operations or patient chair time to outbound logistics. We've done our procedures. Now we need to get them out of the chair and out the front door and make sure that we're delivering our product to the world, okay? So I consider outbound logistics to be patient dismissal. And that's everything it takes from receiving payment, scheduling the next appointment, asking for referrals, sending out lab work, everything it takes to get the patient out the door in the patient flow process. Now, also part of our primary activities is sales and marketing, okay? And I love the definition of sales and marketing because I never thought about sales and marketing in my practice this way, but rather it's the processes you use to persuade your clients to purchase from you instead of your competitors, okay? And to me, I never really thought about competition as part of what I was doing, but it does matter. And sales and marketing is a huge topic, but to know that your patients have choices, and so it's an area worth focusing on. And finally, at the end of the primary activities of value chain is services. These are all the activities that happen in the after the patient's gone. It's the added value opportunity in your practice. It's things that we hear lots about. Make your phone calls to your patients. Do the obvious things. But additionally, dental insurance, in my mind, is a service. It's an added value. It's something you do. And so we'll talk a little about that in a second with this case study. On the supportive activities, this is something that I underspent time, didn't spend enough time on when I was in full-time practice, okay? So let's take a look at these. Procurement, okay? It's how you get the resources you need to deliver the product you're doing, okay? So really, in a dental practice, it's like inventory control. And it's not, the real profit isn't just buying cheaper, your supplies cheaper. It's not just getting things cheaper, but it's actually thinking about inventory control. Toyota has just in time. They have no inventory. They get everything just in time. You don't want to ever run out of anything, but you want to know what your turn rate is. You want to make sure you're not having supplies go bad on the shelf, but you don't ever want to run out. And so that requires a fair amount of work, and working with your dental supply company or a consultant in that space makes a lot of sense. Second, technology. Technology is huge. It's all about the information and processing information in your business. And the easy thing as a dentist, when we hear about technology, we start thinking, oh, I want to buy a new piece of technology. But that's not where the big opportunity is. If I was a consultant going into 3M Corporation, the first thing I'd want to do is I'd want to find out what technology they own, what software they own, and I'd want to train the staff so they can fully utilize it. I'd want them to become masters on Excel and Word. Well, in your dental office, what technology, what software do you own? Your dental practice management software, are they always looking to use the new versions, the greatest parts of it, or do they just keep using the software the way they know how? So my suggestion is to invest in technology, not necessarily new technology, but really utilizing the technology you already have in your office. Human resource management, I thought human resources was hiring people, firing people, and making sure you paid them and paid their taxes on them. It's a whole bigger space than that. In corporate America, people hope that they'll have the opportunity to be promoted and grow in their jobs. In a dental office, what you hope is that your dental assistant stays with you forever and doesn't change. So you have to find opportunities to help her grow, help your dental assistant, your staff grow personally and professionally to create the value of being part of your office. And finally, infrastructure. Infrastructure is everything that happens to make it operate on a daily basis. Legal, accounting, bookkeeping, general management. That leads us to leadership, and leadership matters. And what I've learned about leadership going back to school is the great leaders are intentional leaders. They study leadership, they don't poo-poo the concept, but they actually study it, and by doing so, they become great leaders. So that's value chain, but I want to talk about it's a lot more than how to use it. And the consultants and the gurus come in and they've got great tactics. I actually have a whole lot of value for consultants, but those tactics need to fit in the big picture. So if you learn a tactic, you can decide where it fits, which building block it fits in, and by attacking the entire value chain, that's your best chance of maximizing your profit margins. Okay? I thought we'd take a second and do a quick case study. Besides doing dentistry, my wife's not a dentist, but we own a retail store. She owns a high-end stationery store, and so I thought I'd do a case study on her Groupon experience. She decided early on, some marketers came by and told her about Groupon, and it seemed like it made a lot of sense. And it seemed like it made a whole lot of sense. So what she did is she said, all right, I'm going to do Groupon. That's going to let people understand the way I take care of my customers. This great experience we have when they come shopping at her store. Well, there's two reasons people use Groupon, okay? And what Groupon is, it's, in case you're not familiar with it, Groupon is the opportunity to sell coupons, but you don't sell them unless you reach a certain number. So let's say you're going to sell a $50 gift certificate for $35, but you only do it if 100 people buy it. So in that sense, you get a short-term cash influx of $3,500, and that you can put in your profit in your pocket. So that's one reason to do a Groupon, is because you want the short-term cash infusion. The other reason is they market you. They put your name out there and they let people know that you exist, and then hopefully those people come into your store and have whatever type of experience that you're hoping for. So my wife's business wasn't necessarily interested in the short-term cash infusion. What she really wanted was she wanted the people to come in and have this great high-touch, high-feel customer service experience. But that's not what happened. What happened was the segment that was coming into her store isn't her customer segment. So they came in, they wanted to use their $50 gift card, and they wanted to buy something that was less than $50. It always had to be less than $50. So they'd spend $49.99, and they wanted to know why they weren't going to get a penny back. They wanted their penny back. After a few of these potential customers, and remember, what's the value? Why did she do the program? Is because she wanted to get the word about how wonderful she was. Well, the staff didn't understand that, and the staff became irritated with these people. They didn't give them the same love they gave the rest of their customers. And so it wasn't necessarily the maximizing it, because they didn't understand the full value, the service component of that. So why do I tell that story to a dental audience? Because, do you remember this game? Groupon is to retailers as dental insurance is to dentists. That's right. So my experience was somebody came in, they were worried about their insurance, they wanted to do their insurance. Was I giving them the same experience? And not just me, did my staff fully understand the reason we take dental insurance is not that I want to be a dental insurance practice forever. And it's okay if what you want to do is just get people in, maximize it. You know, in the value chain, you want to invest as little as possible on the high-touch, high-feel parts of each of the squares of the value chain. But if the thing is to grow your practice so those patients will stick and spread the word, then you need to educate your staff to say, we go overboard and we know that we're going to get beat up, but we're going to keep doing whatever our mission is in doing this. There's one other place that I think the value chain has been really, really interested, and that's with the Seattle Study Club. And this isn't pandering or anything like that. It's the truth. After being a director for the Seattle Study Club for over a decade, I realized that one of the biggest values to me in being in the Seattle Study Club is they didn't just talk about, like most study clubs do, where they talk about clinical things or cases, but they actually attacked the entire value chain. We had programs on staff development, staff motivation, embezzlement, marketing, technology, operations, everything all across the value chain we addressed over my years with the Seattle Study Club. And I think that's one of the things that made it most special, makes it most special, and makes it stand out. So that's the dental value chain. I'm hoping you'll find this interesting, want to learn more about other strategic tools. If on your own you want to learn more, I recommend you look at Michael Porter's book, Competitive Advantage. He has some newer books out as well. There's a website that I like, that I steal stuff from, called MindSpring. And finally, if you have questions, contact me, Eric Rindler, at ctgraphs@aol.com. All right, guys. Thank you all.